News flash! Fire strikes Holsword State University Archive. A sudden fire broke out in the archives of the Holsword State University, engulfing a significant part of the academic administrative building. It was put out by the local firefighters after burning for 8 hours and ravaging through the historic library, which housed many priceless documents. Reporters on the scene have relayed that the event occurred in the evening, with multiple staff of the facility being transported to the hospital. That's not good, with severe burns, but no deaths occurred. Okay, that's kind of good. Not the burns, but the not dying. The rector, Sander Navik, immediately commented that the incident has damaged several academic works and employee records. We might have lost the world, or we might have lost Maricopa. We won't know until the day when we can enter the facility to evaluate. I'm guessing that's the fire we saw near the end of the last episode. You can also see up here there's 6 different newspapers. They represent different factions. Sordland today, President Anton Rayne. He's insane. The new president has been sworn into office by the Chief Justice Orso Hawker. Another great win for the USP and Anton Rayne. This must be the Truth newspaper. I'm sure it's not the one that's propaganda for our party, who managed to get 37% of the general vote. That's all I got? The first congratulations came from Casaro Kebener of the National Front Party. Nice wuss mustache. Who are these? The National Front Party is a nationalist, ultra-conservative party. Alright, so the ultra-conservatives love us. They finished 3rd in the electoral race and entered the assembly. The runner-up of the general election vote, the PFJP, didn't concede until the last minute, but the results were clear since several hours in. Thousands of supporters have gathered in the streets of Dyer, chanting campaign slogans, waving flags, and displaying USP party banners to display unwavering support to the newly elected president. They like me. They really like me. The public mood is very positive in the city. From all accounts on the ground, the city is celebrating that a Dyer-born president, that's our man Anton, with humble roots, is now sitting in the Maroon Palace. You know it, baby. The economists say Alfonso abandons Lothburg's exclusive conclave. In a stunning development, former president and current chairman of Gasum, I'm guessing that's like Gazprom, the gas company, Ewald Alfonso, he's the former president, has announced his departure from the exclusive Lothburg group. That's the... what is that? It's a propagandist group, it's a lobbyist group for the oligarchs. His decision has been fueled by a growing disillusionment with the interests of the secret organization. Alfonso has been quoted saying he's intent on charting his own course away from Lothburg. However, his abrupt exit from the group only a few years after his defeat in the 1953 elections marks another political setback for the man who led Sordland into the deepest recession back in 1951. Alright, so I guess this is our economic paper. This is our Forbes or whatever. The Lockin' Times. Ooh, look at that fancy font. Ooh la la. Swordfish Nation start... wait, what? I don't know how to read. Swordfish National League starts season. As the Swordfish National League prepares to kick off its 1954 through 1955 season... oh, it's the sports page? The excitement and anticipation surrounding the league is greater than ever. Football, once a minor pastime in Sordland, has steadily grown in popularity over the past decade, with the National League emerging as the premier platform for the country's top teams to showcase their skill and compete for the coveted championship title. FC Gelsord, a Sordfish professional football club. This is soccer, right? If so, boring. Last season's champions return with a core of... I'm not going to read all this. It would be funny if my administration fails because I didn't pay attention to the sports page. If you tell me it's American football, or you come up with baseball, I'm all over it. Let's check out The Radical. The Roots, The Radical. Unearthed. The Ism Incident. Decades after the infamous Ism Incident. The Ism Incident was a bloody protest that occurred in 1933. It is largely regarded as one of the foundational movements of the Blutish movement. Moments of the Blutish movement. So apparently they were going to build a big dam named after Tarkin's soul, and the people who lived there didn't want to leave, and construction workers came in. There was violence. They shot some Blutish people. Tarkin's soul came in heavily handed and began genocide against the Blutish people, basically saying that they were a terrorist organization. So that's why the Bloods have such a bad experience with the rest of our nation, is that Tarkin's soul persecuted them, and then they created a militant group, the Blutish Freedom Front, to respond. Interesting. Decades after the infamous Ism incident, newly unconfirmed information emerges that changes the official state narrative. As per anonymous former Black Battalion sources, the incident was not an act of foreign aggression to destabilize Sordland, but a government conspiracy to gain influence. Materials related to members of the Old Guard faction, that's Tarkin's soul's old group, revealed startling information about the involvement of high-ranking government officials in the incident, some of which are in powerful positions to this day. Is that why there was the fire at the university? Are they trying to hide things? Records? Our paper won't be disclosing the details due to potential safety reasons. Oh no, am I getting into the conspiracy papers? This fresh perspective on the bloody incident of 1933 necessitates a reassessment of Sordish history, promising to reshape our understanding of the Blutish movement. And then lastly, the Geopolitico. Rizia lays claim to offshore gas fields. Prices fluctuate in Maricopa. In a surprising move, the Kingdom of Rizia has officially claimed the newly discovered Arius offshore gas field near the Grand Duchy of Populace. Can I go to Rizia? Alright, so there are ways south of us. I don't want country information. We're up here. They're way down here. Oh, I gotta get back to news. So they're claiming offshore gas fields that they've been discovered. The move has caused energy gas prices to fluctuate significantly across our continent, affecting local economies. The tension in the region has intensified as both nations are now locked in a dispute over the valuable natural resources, with other Maricopan countries closely watching the situation. Rizia's claim to the gas fields is based on historical records and/or maritime boundary agreements that date back decades, asserting that they hold rightful ownership of the resources. The Grand Duchy of Populace, which is this little area to the south of them. Man, the Grand Duchy is fucked if they get invaded. The Grand Duchy of Populace, however, contests these claims, stating that their own records and agreements provide them with rights to exploit the gas fields. That's convenient that both sides are like, I found papers that show I own this shit. The situation has attracted international attention, with several nations offering to mediate the dispute to prevent further escalation. Amid the ongoing conflict, energy companies operating in Maricopa have raised concerns about the potential disruption to their operations and the adverse impact on the region's energy supply. If the dispute remains unresolved, it could lead to long-term consequences for the energy market and diplomatic relations in Maricopa. Alright, so that's everything that's going on. Let's get back to our country. That's not where I wanted. Who are these guys? I don't know them. Member of AFTA? Some free trade organization? Get out of here, you losers. I gotta get back to my country. Help, I'm lost. As we can see by these little, like, clipboards around here, there's still a lot of stuff for us to look at and pick up. Let's go to Dyer, our hometown. Increasing homelessness. The region of Bergia is amongst the worst hit regions of Sordland, where homelessness has skyrocketed since the economic recession. The number of homeless in the city of Dyer is more likely to have increased by 25% in the last year. That's a problem. The rise is particularly stark among the Blutish people, where homelessness increased by 72% in just 6 years. It is reported that homelessness among ethnic minorities has reached the highest level in more than a decade. The Blutish minority of the region now account for up to 47% of all homeless people there. No wonder why the Bloods are unhappy about things. What else do we got? So, Bergia, that's where our character is from. Up here in Nargis, Little Narble. A gas-filled discovery! I found it in my butthole! The Sordish Grid Corporation's field research team has announced new gas fields in Narble. These discoveries could enhance the city's energy supply and play a significant role in the broader energy landscape of Sordland. We need that. We need to find ways to boost the economy and pull us out of this shit recession. Preliminary analysis of the yield and quality of these fields is currently underway. The corporation will soon release a comprehensive report outlining extraction feasibility. The economic implications of these findings, particularly regarding potential growth and job creation in the region, are noteworthy. What else do we got? In Lockhaven? Port of Lockhaven loses importance. The latest marine traffic report shows that the Port of Lockhaven is no longer the busiest of the Mercopa continent, falling behind to a third position. While this is a negative indicator for our administration, Lockhaven still has the potential to shine as a major trading center. Why do I care if they're number 1 or 3? As long as somebody's the number 1 port. The port of... Oh wait, no, it's on the entire continent, not just inside of our country. There is a problem. We're losing to other countries. Fuck them! The Port of Lockhaven is the largest port of Sordland and holds enormous importance for the economy, particularly as the main distribution center linking the capital and the inner parts of Sordland to the rest of the world. This major port will hopefully keep supporting a possible economic upturn in the entire country if investment projects succeed. Alright, so that's the news in Nargis. What's up here in Angland? Low production in England. The report calls attention to the alarmingly low levels of productivity growth in the region of England, where there are also high rates of food insecurity, malnutrition, and rural poverty in the inner parts of the region. So this is the sticks. And in Avery, lack of investment. The mayor of Avery, Eric Nile, reports a lack of adequate infrastructure around Avery, which seriously undermines the attractiveness of Avery's investment climate. Foreign investors, particularly from Agnolia, that's the country to the north, that we have a trade deal with that benefits us, are becoming hesitant to invest in the city. Isn't that to the north, or is that this area? Yeah, that's to the north. Agnolia is to the north. I hit the wrong button. Oh, do I not get the rest of the report? Oh well, whatever. Everything else is fine. If I don't read the rest of the report, it means it's a good day. Thank you. What about down here in Grooney? Natural Preservation March. Hippies. The Natural Preservation Foundation, and therein, has organized a march promoting ecological practices. And go, fine. All right, you hippie druids, do what you... I gotta save the economy. Unless you can start paying for things with squirrels and nuts and berries, I got things to do. Oh man, okay, we've got a briefing to attend. We've got 2 more reports. I am sick of reading reports. I didn't get elected president to read reports. I'm going to read a report. Logistical issues. In a recent update from Wholesword, the mayor expressed growing concerns about the escalating traffic congestion linked in the city's burgeoning population and rapid urban expansion. A logistics report pinpointed the significance of increase in traffic volume and subsequent slowing of transportation routes as the capital's most pressing issues. The mayor stressed, hey dude, don't stress yourself or you might mess yourself. He's like, we have real infrastructure problems, El Presidente. The mayor stressed that the lack of a comprehensively designed, large-scale, land-based logistics hub serving as a converging point for all transporters is exacerbating the issues faced by domestic transporters, giving Holster's status... I believe that's the nation's capital. Yeah, it is. Giving Holster's status as a sprawling metropolis. The current metropolis... Do we have like a discount Superman here? The current situation where transporters have established separate centers across 10 different districts is scattered and inefficient. And we have one more report. What? We only had 2. How is there another? Let's read the report on the fire. Come on, man. I've seen Joe Biden. I've seen Donald Trump. Aren't I supposed to be able to go on vacation all the time? Ain't that what a world leader does? Police report on the university fire. A fire broke out in the academic administration building of Holserd State University. I know, I read it in the paper, dipshits. The initial report from the chief of police in Holserd indicates a near to complete destruction of employee records from 1890 until now, along with original copies of internally recognized academic research destroyed. The extent of the damage is worse than expected. Interesting that employee records have been destroyed. More reports! As soon as I get done with one, there's another. It's like whack-a-mole, but it's not fun. GNA prepares Tourism Act. The Grand National Assembly in our capital is readying the Sordland Tourism and Cultural Preservation Act. This act aims to enhance the cultural and tourism appeal of several cities, including Boren, Ribery, Lockhaven, Anrika, and Benfey. Aren't we a nation that just constantly has struggles and civil disorder? Does anybody want to come to this shithole? Don't put that in the commercial! Don't put that in the commercial for Sordland! In a collective push to make Sordland a global tourist destination. Good luck, National Assembly, with that. Alright, only one more damn report, and then we can have a business meeting. Excitement. A public opinion report. People's views on the need for democratic reform in the government structure has changed over the last decade. Reformist propaganda, and from the leader of the People's Freedom and Justice Party, good old Franz Richter right there, have resulted in a massive increase in demands for democratic reforms. It is estimated that currently 55% of the population supports the reformist ideas. That's kind of what we're going for. We want a new constitution. We want it to be more people-centric. Alright, I read all those damn reports. Let's do a briefing on the economic situation. Simone Hall, who the hell that? Is a politician and businessman who is the Minister of the Economy, okay. Gus Manger is a politician and businessman who serves as the Minister of Agriculture, so we're meeting some of our ministers in rural development, and Lilius Graf, who's the Minister of the Interior. So, Minister of the Interior, Minister of Agriculture, Minister of the Economy. I ain't gonna remember this. Can we just have one guy? Remembering three things is too hard for El Presidente. Alright, so Simon Hall, Gus Manger, he's got the mange and Lilius Graf are about to arrive at the White Room in the Maroon Palace for a meeting. Two assistants arrived first, carrying a heavy projector. Oh, we're gonna watch movies! We're gonna watch movies! I wanna see Wizard of Oz. They stood with it by the door, waiting for the ministers to enter. From the hallway, I heard Lilius's voice. She was using the patient, almost motherly tone she often took in heated arguments.
Guys, do you really think that such an economically advanced area is more in need of investment than England? Guys?
Lilius, my interior minister, strode in. She was clad in shades of brown and beige. The only spot of color, a bright yellow Dasterneris cross on her neck. Gus followed close behind.
Don't be an idiot, Lilius. What about the unemployment crisis the greater Holsord and Gelsland regions are going through? These areas are our economic heartland.
Gus curled his hands into fists. Yeah, beat each other! Beat each other! That is how economic policy will be determined in my land! Fight! Fight to determine whose policy is best! It's gonna be like a Klingon bird of prey. Just don't challenge me. I'm a wuss. The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development's temper hadn't changed since his days in the Alfonso administration. Okay, so we have the same Minister of Agriculture that our predecessor had. But neither had his reputation for getting things done. That man knows how to cornhole. His far-reaching network of connections was unlike any other. Simon Hall quickly stepped between the two ministers without looking at either of them. He cleared his throat.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning, nerds. How y'all doing?
I am very well motivated, Mr. Rayne. It seems our ministers are feeling the same.
Alright, great to hear. Let's begin. I don't want to ask what they were arguing about. I don't give a shit.
Of course, Mr. President.
Simon pulled a silk handkerchief. Oh, look at you, Richie Rich. You got a handkerchief that came out of a silkworm's butthole out of his pocket and briefly wiped his glasses.
My staff and I have comprehensively analyzed every aspect of...
He was interrupted by a groan, oh, from one of the assistants by the door. Don't throw your back out, lift with your legs. Both of whom were now visibly struggling to hold up the heavy projector.
Oh, you can put that there.
He pointed to the painting of President Sol, who lives on an island somewhere and is immune. He can do whatever he wants. He can go punch babies, and he's immune. The assistants placed the projector next to a table and installed a white screen on the wall.
Leave now. I mean, thank you, and please leave now.
Simon seems like a nice guy. The assistants left the cabinet room. I was reminded that Simon had never quite had a way with people. But his facility with numbers had made him the most sought-after economic specialist in Sordland. Simon stared, looking for the slides. He always carried documentation around with him. I will wait patiently. Lilius leaned to the table and spoke.
Simon, what happened to the new police station construction in Estord?
What's this place? It's an oil-rich city in Sordland. It has a long history that I don't give a shit about. While going through his briefcase, he paused for a moment to answer.
It got stalled due to a government property boundary issue. I have been meaning to look at it. I can take a look. Esther needs all the security help it can get. Sure, more time for me to spend on the analyses.
His eyes glittered when he finally found the slides he were looking for.
There have been some developments about the Sordland losing further value today. We have been trying to stabilize it with the central bank.
The recession of 51 put enormous pressure on the economy, resulting in the collapse of the value of our currency. The entire situation was a significant cause of concern for our administration.
What would you like to know about the current economic situation?
Why we fucked? What is the GDP, and what is our debt situation?
Well, our current GDP is 310 billion Sordland, and the national debt is 427 billion.
Oh no. Our debt is more than our GDP. That ain't good. Oh.
It's still hard to fathom that we lost nearly 150 billion in wealth. The 3 past years were tough.
You lost that, Gus?
No, not me, the entire economy.
Gus, you better find that money. What is our employment and inflation rate?
Unemployment is skyrocketing and now is at a staggering 16%. Inflation is at a relatively high of 10%.
What do you mean relatively high of 10%? That's huge! That's huge, 10%!
Unemployment is increasing crime and drug use.
Oh, so it's not just you?
What?
Nothing. I didn't use drugs.
We need to get people off the streets. Inflation isn't helping our average citizen either.
What is the status of the recession? I'm guessing not good by the growth thing?
The economy has been in a recession of about negative 6% of the past year. The average GDP has dropped from Sordland,
Isn't that what you mean for SR?
15,454 per capita to SR 10,359 from 1951 to now.
Oh man, holy shit! So you mean the average purchasing power per person has dropped by a third? Oh jeez, we're all gonna get lynched if we don't fix this.
The administration's success depends on our ability to stop the recession. The sooner we can reach GDP growth, the better.
You don't say, numbnuts! I have all the information needed. Let's move on to our economic strategy. Simon scattered the paper stack in front of him in an orderly manner and took a final look at his notes before clearing his throat.
As you can see, the situation is alarming, but not everything is negative. The extensive privatization program of Alfonso and key foreign direct investments left us a large budget surplus, which we can use to stabilize the crisis. The primary subject we need to settle on is what general path we will take in our term. Solonomics based on nationalization happened in the 30s, and Alfonso's privatization began during the end of the 40s. What will our administration focus on?
Well, we promised free market reforms.
One of our main promises was to promote a free market
I just said that, numbnuts.
economy to stop the recession. To be frank,
I thought you were Simon.
I believe it is the only way out of the recession.
Me too, that's why I ran on it, asshole.
I still do not support it.
Are you the president, Graf? Graf your lips to my nuts. That's what you can do. We're here to solve problems.
Why promote the private sector when we have a qualified state-owned enterprises?
If they've done so good, why are we in a recession, bitch?
Because the lack of competition has made them inefficient.
Exactly. Gus knows. Simon nodded. I don't want a planned economy. The more we take control of the economy, that's not going to fix it if it's inefficient. What are the consequences of no, humanity in the 21st century is thriving because of the rule of supply and demand, because of the free market.
Agreed. Look how quickly Lesbia and Arcasia have increased their prosperity by embracing these basic principles.
See, Arcasia, in charge of Ado, that's who we want to ally with. That's who we want to be friends with.
Sordland has the potential to do well as so...
Are you high, Gus? Hey, drug use is on the rise, you know what I'm saying, bro?
Why don't we take our potential seriously?
Integrating heavily in a market economy would work if we had extensive means of production. Our industry is lacking. The structural problems of Solonomics were going to lead to a recession according to the predictions at the time anyway.
I don't need your math, nerdlinger. I just need solutions.
Either way, if we pick one of the doctrines, we retain the option to make economic choices on a case-by-case basis. That is, however, not recommended in my point of view.
I didn't ask your opinion, bitch.
The last thing we need is a chaotic economic plan.
Finally, something we can both agree on, Lilias.
There is another important part which has a direct impact on our economy: superpowers.
Which ones? I would like to have super strength. It'd make me really good at baseball or football.
Not that kind of superpowers, sir. We might have won the election, but I'm still against aligning ourselves with any superpowers.
I don't like you.
Economically speaking, we are much closer to Arcasia than the United Continent.
We don't want to join the commies or the Melanesians, whatever their shit thing is.
So a decision to align to the West makes more sense.
That's what I'm saying, Simon.
We must be very cautious. There are schemes being devised against Sordland. We cannot give in to their wants now or in the future. Otherwise, our country will turn into a pawn. I want you to reconsider your promise to align with Arcasia.
Never! I have promised things to the... What's the name of our country? Sordlandian people! Did I say Sordlandian people?
You did, sir.
Oh, that's hilarious. They are kind of dicks. Don't tell them I said that. No, I'm not going to tell her not to worry. I'm not going to say she might be right. I made a promise to the Sordlandian people, and I won a weak plurality of 37% of them, and if that isn't a mandate, what is? I have made a promise to the people of Sordland, and I won't back down. You can march me up to the gates of hell, but I won't back down.
Exactly, we have made a promise. People want to trust their president. What kind of an example would we set for future generations if we were back down now on our promises?
Yeah, we haven't even tried and failed. If we tried and failed, we could change tax. Let's at least try.
Also, in my opinion, aligning with a powerful country like Arcasia was an excellent decision.
I want to be allies with Arcasia. If we can join Ado, nobody can fuck with us.
I know you campaigned for this in the party a long time ago, Gus. Mr. President, this is exactly what being controlled looks like. Voluntarily or involuntarily.
What are you talking about, you crazy psycho bitch? If I am voluntarily doing this, I am not being controlled. I hate you. Somebody stab her in the neck with a knife. Mustapheles, where are you when you need her? When I need you? I would stab her with my horns. You are the best, Mustapheles.
Who are you talking to, President?
Oh, you wish you knew. You wish you knew, bitch. Gus eyed Lilias with distrust, but didn't say anything.
When the time comes, I hope you'll make the right decision, for our own good.
We should attract more foreign direct investment, Mr. President. We save the country from a full-on depression in 1952 and 1953 by signing lucrative trade deals with nations such as Russia, Lesbia, and Kinal.
Simon cleared his throat again.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Minister Wissy will be in charge of informing you on those types of foreign policy decisions.
Ain't that my old teacher, Wissy?
We must first decide on our internal economic plan.
Simon put forward a legal document outlining the possibilities, with both economic doctrines listed. The cabinet members looked at me. If you're a cabinet, like, can I put dishes in you? Don't stare at me like that! We don't have to thank Sol for his shitty planned economy. What's our long-term economic schedule?
Picking a construction company, trade relations, tax reform, and privatization initiatives would be some of them.
Alright, thank you, Simon.
Sticking to a solid plan...
What the fuck is wrong with you, you whorebag? You absolute douche nugget!
5-year plans were fruitful in the past, though, sir.
How many times have I told you we're not doing this? It's like we've all decided we're going to Olive Garden, and we're eating at Olive Garden, and Graf won't shut up about wanting to go to Arby's! Would a free market focus bring us stronger allies? I would like to think Arcasia would like to see that.
The influence of Arcasia has on the world economy is extensive. Our economic strategy should be based on internal reasoning, though.
It would make Arcasia look at our country in a more positive light. They are proponents of the free market economy.
Alright, let's just move on to the conclusion.
What are your final thoughts, Mr. President?
Oh, I think about a lot of things. I think about titties. I think about saving the economy. I think of the fabulous Mr. Mustopheles.
Who's that, Mr. President?
Oh, you would love him. Or he might kill you, I don't know. Let's see. I don't care about critical institutions remaining in state control. We should look at opportunities like privatization to create financial resources. Oh wait, but this is also good. A market economy doesn't require as much guidance and could help us attract foreign capital. Maybe that would be a way to boost money coming into the country.
Especially from Arcasia, President Walker.
He must be the president of Arcasia. He looks like he's wearing a face mask. Creepy. Alright, so that's the president of Freedom Club.
He's always interested in expanding the economic zone of Ato. We could secure lucrative investment from capitalist countries. So what will our general economic plan promote?
We're going to promote a free market economy. That's what I promised. Two things. Number one, I think it's the best plan. Number two, I promised this to the people.
I can't say I agree with any of...
I know. You have bitched about everything. Your new name should be Bitchy McBitch-Tits. Lilius looks displeased with your verbal dressing down of her.
Now that there's clarity on which direction we are heading, I will work on a good plan accordingly.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you for saying you're going to work on a good plan, and not that you said you're going to work on a bad plan.
Oh my, the president's kinda testy. This concludes our meeting. At our next gathering, we will talk about the upcoming infrastructure investment plan.
Now that the economic direction was taken, the ministers dispersed for lunch at the Maroon Palace. I'm going to have a ham sandwich. Don't tell Mr. Mustopheles. Well, that's the end of this episode. We, made some decisions. Hopefully we can pull this country out of the economic shitstorm it's in. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. That one lady was a pain in the ass, though. Constantly trying to force us to do what we don't want to do. It's like being married, but I don't get any pooty ting. Well, I guess it is like being married either way. Maybe I'll see you next time.